Okay, we should be back now, and you should be able to see things, which is a very exciting opportunity, I feel. It should be sad, sad, sad Minako. You guys just let me know when you're seeing stuff again, and hearing me, and all is well. See and hear, and we see Minako, and she is sad. Okay, perfect. Okay, did you guys have anything else on chat that I missed while the world exploded because a mouse ran out of a battery, which is ridiculous, but whatever, I guess. Oh, I do have a nice ask in here that says "Pigeon fucking is my destiny." That's wonderful. I feel very happy about these plans for my life. All right, let's see. All right, so my next one that I have here in the Tumblr.com Askbox is: if you were going to rewrite the end of Sailor Moon, what would you do? I know you'd have them hug. This is from Holligate, by the way. But I mean, on a conceptual level, let's say you're stuck with up to 198, but 199 and 200 are all yours. Meanwhile, I'm seeing in chat, do you have any comment on the latest rumors that you may in fact love Reihino? I have no comment at this time. Okay, so what would I do at the end of Stars? Well, it's end of Sailor Moon in general. So let's assume I don't have anything to do after the end of Stars. That's it. It ends, and I am done. Huh. Well, I actually would want to bring them back. I understand that for some that's not the best choice. I don't care. If I'm ending it, I want it to end on a note where they're together because the story continuing from that point is important to me. I want it to end when I want it to end, and I didn't want it to end there. So even if I can't, in the sense of having creative control over the series, go any further, I want to, in my sense, want to know that it's still going on. So, well, Doc submitted a lot of stuff, so that's all I've got to say. um, so yeah, so I would have the pug in the end. That's not a question. But what would I do otherwise? I would focus more if I had to leave, like say 196. If I have to have 196 as given in the series, then I would want to utilize some of the time in 199 and 200 to get some of the emotional beats that we didn't get from 196. I mean, obviously, Ray and Usagi was done well, and I can't complain about that. But everyone else got fucked up, so so I'm gonna have to try and pull some of that out from somewhere. I think what I'd do is I would devote 199 to the um, actual final fight, to the actual conclusion with Galaxia, and then the bulk of 200 would be on reconnecting and the problems that we're experiencing from everybody dying. Because I do want that fallout. I want death to have consequences, just that within the context of these fantastical stories, it doesn't have to be an end for me. So I would put 199 would be on taking Galaxia down. 199 was a pointless fucking episode about which I am still quite angry, and I would fuck the Starlights, essentially. I don't care. I've been as diplomatic, re the Starlights, as I'm prepared to be at this point. I don't find them interesting. I think they were horribly done. And that is a problem that I would like to correct, but I would need more than 2 episodes in which to do that. I would have needed to have been starting on that a million years ago. So I would take 199 and the Usagi and Galaxia final fight or confrontation. I would want Galaxia to have some kind of accountability for what she had done. I certainly wouldn't want it to just be like, okay, thanks, you're better now, goodbye. So I'd like to go, I think, into. I liked the idea of Galaxia needing Usagi to punish her, that I started talking about a little bit in the live blogs for those episodes. So I probably would follow that line again because I just don't have a whole lot of time left for the only 2 episodes. I would focus more on Galaxia and kind of what she had done to herself at that point and her need for Usagi to be what Galaxia was, and to be as weak as she was. And Usagi coming back from that and refusing to do it in quite the same sort of way. And I even don't mind that she, used kindness versus violence to overcome Galaxia, though I understand, particularly in the climate we're in, how that's sort of not satisfying and that's kind of troubling. But at the end of it all, I would want her to force some kind of. I don't even know how I'd want to do it. I don't mind if Galaxia dies, to be truthful. I don't know that her living is particularly powerful to me. See, I'm having trouble now separating out kind of how Holiday wrote her End of Stars, because I like the idea of them coming back and trying to, Minako trying to take some kind of justice against Galaxia. But I don't know if I would have done that had I not read what she had written before. Oh, actually, I think I know what I would do. So we'll get the Galaxia thing. I don't know how I'd want to end that. I can't decide if I would want Usagi to force her into some kind of we have to have justice for what you've done. Here is your punishment, or as atonement, you have to go and do whatever the fuck it is she's doing, but with some measure of accountability back. You don't just let Galaxia destroy fucking everything and everyone. You don't just let her go have a road trip. So setting that aside, because I don't want to spend the rest of the night on it, and I could while I try and untangle it. I'd have it end with, whatever she's doing with Galaxia. And then with 200, I actually think I would not have everyone come back, but with the hint that maybe they could, and Usagi could get them back if she does something. Like maybe there's a quest that she could go on. So 200 would be spent kind of reminiscing, and Usagi really is alone and kind of trying to deal with that, and thinking about what she misses from each person. So it's, again, this is where we get the emotional connection we didn't have before. But at the end of the whole thing, at the end of that episode, as she's struggling, trying to come to terms with the fact that they have some kind of a hint that maybe they could be if she did something. And we could end it there, where it indicates maybe like a next chapter of the story that could happen, but it hasn't happened yet. I don't know that would be as satisfying as I, as a viewer, would want, but it would suggest that there is a lot more story that would come after, so nothing would feel rushed. I think I might appreciate that part, at least, that it was leaving it open to be explored, maybe in another series or something like that. But I think I would enjoy seeing Usagi having to actually go to some lengths to bring her people back, that she actually has to go through these kind of trials to reconnect with everybody, and maybe she doesn't do it. Maybe she's not able to do it for everybody. Maybe she can get Ami back, but she can't get Rei. Maybe she can get Haruka without Mitsuru. I mean, there are some interesting things that you could kind of work in that. So yeah, I think that might be kind of the way that we go with that. Oh, someone's texting me here. Let's see. Ah. um, let's see. I'm looking. I saw some other stuff come up here. 1 second. Let's see. Princess of Apples says, "Here's a question for you, Jet. Assuming everyone Galaxia murdered comes back, Siren and potentially Crow, up to you, gets back to her or their own planets. Their families died, their Senshi teams died, and they turned to Galaxia, and now everyone is back. How does that go?" Um, that's a very broad scoped question because you can't answer it in this is what everyone would do because no one is going to have one reaction that's going to apply to anybody, but that individual person or family or team or planet. It's you can't just apply like a rubber stamp and say everybody will respond this way. And I think a lot of it too would depend upon how it was that they that those people died. Like we know that Siren and Crow and Gangster Mouse and all them, we know that they turned against their people and their teams. Or rather, I should say, we only thing we know is that they joined Galaxia. We don't know anything else. We don't know if their families and their Senshi team died independent of them joining. They could literally have been the last surviving people on the entire planet, and we're like, well, it was this or death. Um, and so I mean, even just within our group of girls, we can't answer one question as to how people would deal with that. Those responses would be so different and so personal. So it is a good question, but I really can't answer it without doing a tremendous amount of back work for each individual person. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, if you could create, a team for Crow and Siren, who are they? At what point did Siren and Crow turn on them? That's assuming Siren and Crow are on the same team, which I personally prefer as a headcanon idea. Um, yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to maybe explore that, particularly for Crow and Siren, because I find them so interesting. But I don't know that I could really answer it in any kind of satisfying way right now. It's just it requires so much backstory and structure and investment in characters that don't currently exist and are complete blank slates that I'd have to build to be able to answer it in any kind of meaningful way. So, yeah, so I don't think that I could answer it right now, but I like the idea, and I might, I think that's a really, really interesting idea for a series. I think that if someone were to be that invested in the corporate Googlaxia to take it that far back, which I am to a point. I don't know that I would devote that much time into it when I could be writing about these girls. So I don't know that I necessarily would ever do it, but I think there's a huge, tremendous potential there for some really, really interesting Senshi universe fic that deals with the concepts, but spins out and it's completely in its own direction. So a good question, but not one that I could really, really very easily answer. I don't think. I'm going to take a drink. 1 second. Let's see. Jude says, wondering how you feel about the implications that possibly Crow Siren and Gangster Mouse are alive again after the end of 200. Um, I feel great about it, in the sense that I love those characters and I am totally okay with getting to re-explore them and to have them deal with this in the aftermath. Obviously we don't see any of that, but as a thought, I'm totally cool with it. Something I don't remember if I actually answered this ask, if I actually answered it publicly, or if I started to answer it and then stopped. Or I can't remember if this went public, essentially, but I was responding to something about Siren and Crow in particular at the end of 200, which I definitely plan to do and to go back to when I start to try and make sense of 200 and stars in general. But you know, if Siren, or excuse me, Crow was lost in that black hole, so technically we don't know if she would be reincarnated, so to speak, or brought back via her star seeds, because her star seed would still, her body would still technically, if we assume that, you know, she exists as a form of matter somehow in this black hole, that she still has the fucking bracelets. So her body and her, whatever part of her was trapped within the body and held together by the bracelets, was never freed. So I don't know that she was actually able to sort of be part of whatever it is that everybody else got to be. So, let's consider for a moment that Siren is restored to wherever it is she's from or whatever situation that is, but Crow isn't there. Crow is nowhere to be found. Um, Now, something that I do love the idea of, and it's extraordinarily possible I will write at some point, is Siren going on a quest to get Crow back. And I think she can do it. I think that in the sense that I think it's theoretically possible in this fantasy world that we are all existing in, I think it's possible that she could, because Usagi got caught in the black hole too. And, as Princess Stoplight went in and got her and brought her back. So going into the black hole did not immediately, kill her. It did not compress her, with the gravitational forces into nothingness. None of that actually happened. So I'm seeing it more as a case of, it's not a black hole so much as it's some sort of other dimension or, kind of pocket stasis sort of shit. So I think it's theoretically possible, yeah, that Siren could go, and I would love to, for my story, if I were to ever write it, I would love to have her go to our Senshi to get help to go on a big quest to get Crow back. So now, whether or not Crow could exist in or be able to come back as her starseed pure self, whatever the fuck any of that is, I don't know, because would it matter now that if she comes back the way that she went in and she still had her bracelets on, um, the Galaxia no longer exists to be able to take them and do whatever else. So, it's weird. There's a lot of questions I would have about that, but I think that in and of itself could also be very interesting, because, if Crow isn't able to come back in this pure star-seeded self, what does that mean? What does that mean for her? What kind of differences do exist with a starseed being gone versus the person as they were? So there's a lot of stuff in there that you could kind of play with. So that's a story idea that I'm considering trying to make sense of at some point. I am scrolling back up to see what else I missed. Let's see. I do not believe I am familiar with the concept of a hot take, no. Essentially playing pigeon fucking. I think I actually answered this last time. I see everybody essentially being, oh hell no, apart from Minako, who is just, oh hell yes. Minako would love pigeon fucking. No, I don't. I don't know what that. I'm not sure what that phrase means. So I don't know my hottest Overwatch take. I don't. I don't have an answer for you on that one. The previous wallpaper image context was. I think it's the episode after we see Hotaru, and it's like their reaction to the monster of the week, which they find particularly bizarre. So let's see. Moving. Oh, I can delete that one. Let's see. See, Peters Svensson has asked, will you ever revive the top 100 Sailor Moon moments list now that you've seen the whole anime? Say for a handful of obscure short specials, because some of us remember. The because some of us remember is particularly ominous sounding, by the way. Some of us remember. But yes, the answer to that question is yes, I would. I would actually really enjoy going back through and making a new top 100 with full context of all the episodes, and just to compare, really, between what I said then and what I would think now. Because I mean, it's like a 20-year-old fucking list, so it's gonna be pretty different. So yes, short answer followed by slightly shorter answer is yes. Let's see. A hot take is basically a controversial opinion phrased in a clickbaity way. Oh, like the answer could surprise you. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I'm really tired as well, guys. I apologize. This was, it's like day 2000 or something of the gifting. Let's see. Speaking of context, I have a question. What's the context of that great gif of Haruka looking upset and pounding her fist on the car? That's when Haruka is angsting about the fact that she might have to kill Usagi to take her talisman, if she in fact has one. So it's Haruka being the world's most dramatic mustard noodle and tormented by her duty, torn between her duty and her desire to not have to kill anybody in the most Haruka possible way. If you guys watch that GIF, it's also perfect because Michiru looks so startled. Like, how could you possibly have an outburst like this? It's pretty amazing. Let's see, who spends more time on their hair, Zoisite or Nephrite? I'm gonna go with Nephrite, definitely. Zoisite pretty much just whips his up in a ponytail, and as someone who used to do that on the regular, you're done pretty fast. But Nephrite has a glorious mane that flows like water, and you know that he probably shampoos it about 6 or 7 times every day and brushes it, and he counts the brushes. So I'm gonna go with Nephrite. Zoisite's got shit to do, and he's not gonna waste his time with his hair too terribly much. So just up in a ponytail, pull a couple of strands out so that he can get the effect of the kind of like long sideburn thing, and he's done. I have no stake in the pirate versus ninja war. They're both terrifying for their unique ways. Let's see. All right, this is a long one here. I think this may have been the one that was asked earlier if I had gotten it. So here we go. Anonymous asks, so, Queen Serenity, just how culpable was she in the Moon-Earth War? I say it's all her fault, not Endymion or the princess. I mean, La Raycon Queso shows her just nonchalantly partying away all the whole time there are riots and chaos going down on Earth with phrases such as "Death to the Moon Kingdom" and "Free Earth." Like, holy shit, woman, why don't you nip this politically turmoil situation in the bud before it got to this point? Worst ruler ever. Okay, so this ties in pretty well to our previous conversation about the Moon Kingdom briefly. I am completely on the side of Queen Serenity being extraordinarily culpable for the tensions between the Moon Kingdom and Earth. I don't think she is solely to blame, but she is certainly a huge part of what happened. I don't absolve Endymion at all, not even a little bit. I mean, even looking at nothing else but just what Endymion does, he is aware that there is this massive problem between the two kingdoms. We know that he does because he comes in and he says so. That's how he appears. And he's hiding. He knows enough to run away from the guards. He knows that they're looking for him and they don't want him there. Endymion fully understands that there is mass conflict. This did not come out of nowhere on him. But he did not give a shit. He wanted to be with Princess Serenity, and whether or not he naively felt that that was going to solve all the problems, the fact remains is that, at least in my opinion, it was secondary to what it was that he wanted. He wanted to be with her, and I think that he justified it to himself so that he could get what he wanted. Um, so he is very much responsible for for at least not for at least putting his personal desires over the problems of his kingdom. And, that's pretty selfish. I don't necessarily fault him for it. I don't hate him for it. It's just that speaking, you know, putting blame where it deserves to go, Endymion has to shoulder some of this. Princess Serenity, I give much more of a pass to because I feel that she was intentionally kept very unaware of the gravity of what was going on. I feel she was extraordinarily sheltered. So I think that knowing what was happening would have surprised her, or knowing how deeply it went would have shocked her. That I don't think she knew how bad things had gotten between her people and the people of Earth. At the same time, I do also have to say I don't know that it would have stopped her either. I very much easily see her as sneaking off to go see Endymion when people tell her not to, that it's a bad idea, that she's putting herself in danger, that she's putting her guardians in danger because they have to go fucking get her. Um, and she too is very selfish. It doesn't really matter as much as perhaps it should have. She's much more focused on what it is that she wants. So I think at minimum, Serenity is selfish and looking only at what she wants. I think that's very much the case for Endymion, though he bears a larger responsibility because that's a responsibility that he comes with. Uh, but having it get to that point is very much Queen Serenity's fault. I feel that there's something I've said whenever I've written about the Moon Kingdom, and that's that people aren't driven to being an invading force for genocide overnight. It doesn't take, it's not just if you wake up the next day and you're like, I think I'm going to go invade and kill everybody. You don't go there. You don't wake up there. That's a point you're driven to. So, in my opinion, it was very much a case of like the people on Earth over the course of generations, and literally generations if you consider the uh, the lifespan difference between people on Earth and people of the Moon. Um, Over the course of generation after generation after generation on Earth of oppression and not being, their needs not being catered to, or not even catered to. That sounds like a worse way to put it. Just their needs being met as a province of the Moon Kingdom, or whatever a kingdom that was attached to them. They were kept away from all these different things for generations, and the Moon Kingdom wasn't listening, and the Moon Kingdom was, brushing their ideas aside. I personally feel that the Moon Kingdom as a whole views the Earth as, a mud ball full of violent monkeys. They just don't regard people of Earth as really autonomous, or they couldn't know what's best for them. So we just need to take care of things on our own, or take care of things for them. We know what's better for you. So I don't think it was malicious. I don't think that Serenity was intentionally trying to repress the people of Earth. I think she just basically didn't think about it, and she was arrogant enough to believe that she knew best. And that's very much something that I try to work into. I haven't written her a lot, but whenever I do write Serenity, Queen Serenity, I try very much to work in that arrogance and just that assuredness that she is divine and she is correct and she is certain that she is right in all things. I feel that the pride is very much one of her largest sins, and that's very much what brings her ultimate downfall. And then when Princess Serenity is born, Queen Serenity loses a lot of perspective about anything that is not her daughter. And it's through that she becomes even more neglectful and, again, arrogant to not seeing what's very plainly occurring right in front of her. So that's kind of how I attribute culpability. It's a multi-layered problem, and I put as well. Don't want to discount the influence of Beryl and Metalia, because I do believe that was an influence. But I'm of the opinion that brainwashing is a terrible plot device. I really hate it. I think it takes away any kind of autonomy and interest for the characters who simply choose poorly. I'd much rather have a character who just makes a bad choice for what they believe are the right reasons than a character that just blindly has to do what some vaguely evil force tells it to do. So I believe that Metalia is like is a seed that gets grown in the people of Earth and the Shiteno, and even Beryl as well. But it's the Earth, it's the Moon Kingdom that made the field so fertile for that seed to be planted and grow. So that's kind of where I take it. So I also like the idea very much of Beryl as a kind of Earth freedom fighter. I have a whole backstory that you can find on my blog. If you look for Silmill Headcanon, I think is the tag. Again, I think that's linked on the side of the current blog, and you can read about my ideas about Beryl and her relationship with Endymion and like how that impacts, which is not particularly strong. I don't like the idea that Beryl went evil for because Endymion spurned her. That feels weak and shallow to me. I much prefer the idea of Endymion and her marriage being a political motion for uniting the people of Earth to take their freedom from the Moon Kingdom, and the Endymion betrayed not just Beryl, who, sure, I have no problem believing that she had feelings for him, but not just for the sake of that, but for the sake of he betrayed the entire Earth. And that's something that she felt very strongly about, and that's more along the lines of what drove her to Metalia and, this genocidal answer to the Moon Kingdom. So that's much more where I lie in that sense. Let's see. Did you guys bring up anything while I was talking away? Again, I can't really watch the chat while I'm talking, or else I will just lose all track of what I'm saying. As I wait the 20-second delay that must occur. Oh, hang on, I think I see something. Let's see. Pouncequake says, was Serenity training Princess Serenity to eventually take over the throne at all, or was she working to keep Princess Serenity as an eternal princess? Did she ever intend her daughter to inherit? Um, that's a good question. I never really took it that far because you kind of don't need to because she died so quickly. And I do think she did. I think that Princess Serenity was, at least as far as the Moon Kingdom is concerned, very young when she died. But I believe that it does pass from serenity to serenity to serenity. It's actually very much a part of my phases theory, is that each phase, of which there are four, corresponding to the moon phases, that each phase has a serenity monarch at its center, and that Queen Serenity, is part of the what is it, the waxing phase, I think, whatever comes before full, and that Princess Serenity slash Usagi is the center of the full moon phase, and then that Chibiusa is the waning phase, I think it is, which is the one that comes after, or waxing, whatever. I never remember. I literally have to look it up every single time I talk about it. Um, but yeah, so that's how I envision it, and it's I don't know. I don't think they're immortal. I think they're extraordinarily long lived. Um, so when it would be Queen Serenity's time, she would go with, would bequeath her power to Princess Serenity. So yes, Princess Serenity would be becoming a ruler at some point, but I don't think that they ever managed to get that far. I don't think that she lived to a point where it ever was a consideration for Queen Serenity. She was still very much a child, and I think Queen Serenity would have kept Princess Serenity as a child, in her own mind, well beyond the point where she maybe should have been backing the fuck up. But she they all died, so rocks fell and everyone died, and it became a non-issue. But yeah, Princess Serenity would have technically ascended the throne at some point. Let's see. I think that was the only one I saw there. So I also jumped to one from chat, where we're getting a lot of anons. I'm sure they're all asking these questions. They're not. Okay. Let's see. Rinako Lover 23 has several questions in one ask here. Let's see. What does Sailor Moon mean to you now versus when you first saw it? Well, I first saw it as the Deke dub, so at the time when I very first saw it, it didn't mean much of anything. It meant an obligation to a friend of mine, who was I had an agreement with that whenever he would send me something through videotape or comics or whatever, I had to watch it. That was the agreement. I had to watch it. I had to read it. I had to give it a chance. If it was on the tape, the agreement was that I had to watch from start to finish of the tape before I could give it up, I guess, before I could say this sucks and I don't want anything else to do with it. So this is when the Deke dub had just started, and he sent me a tape of Sailor Moon episodes. And on that tape was... I'm trying to remember how far it went. I think it went up to like the first or second Nephrite episode, but I'm not positive. It may have ended with Jedi. But it would have been pretty close to that. So it was about that time period. And he sent it, and as per our agreement, I had to watch it. It was rough. It was rough going. I did not take to it well at all at first. I found Serena irritating. I found the plots to be very thin. Um, it wasn't really for me. I wasn't really enjoying it, but the rule was I had to watch it all the way through, which I did. And then we hit Ray, and that was when it all turned around for me. I loved her immediately, and so we were watching whatever the dub equivalent of her first episode was. I know they cut quite a bit out, so episode 7, I want to say, maybe. So we watched her episode, and I'm like, finally, here's a character that I can get something out of, that I can connect with. And then we watched after that was Nightmare in Dreamland, which we just watched today for the Viz dub. And that was it. I was gone at that point. I was like, I fucking love her. And this is Ray, Raye, not Ray, Rei. So you can imagine when I finally got to see it subbed, that how much, my mind like exploded. I'm like, holy shit, this is the character for me. But I loved Ray, and she was considerably more, more complicated, definitely not more complicated, more difficult to like, than Ray. But for the kind of world that she was inhabiting, especially at that point, she was like a breath of fucking fresh air, because everything like Serena was being coddled, and it was really grating to me how nobody seemed to like be holding her accountable for anything. Like even Luna, just made fun of her, and Darian was just terrible. But Ray was actually like, no, you need to do this. No, you need to do that. We need to improve in this, and I really connected with that very much. Um, so that's not quite the same question as what was asked, which is, what does it mean to me now versus then? So then at the time it meant, oh, here's a new thing I'm interested in, and it slowly grew from there. Taking it a little further of being into it, it's interesting how it kind of almost means the same sort of thing. The first time when I was watching it and I was into the fandom, I met a lot of people that even today are still very important to me. I made friends there that I still have now. So 20 something years later, and I still love them to death, and they're still really, really, really important in my life. Um, and when I came back, the same thing kind of happened again. It was like I met people that I believe will be in my life forever. So it's interesting how beyond that, it means the relationships that I built through it, which I suppose isn't too bad of a thing to wind up saying about a little anime show from 1996 or whatever. So, so ultimately the same thing, I guess, is my answer. Next question in this from the same thing. What got me to live blog? Um, that's actually an easy question. That is when I'd been considering coming back and rewatching the show again. So again, I'm going to set up a timeline here for you. So I was really heavily into Sailor Moon in the late '80s, late '80s, no, late '90s, um, and then left the fandom for a variety of reasons that aren't really interesting right now. And then really that was it. It was very much out of my life at that point. It was, I mean, it never left. Like the affection was still there, uh, but you know, your brain can only hold so much shit at a time. So the details began to fade, and the reasons behind things began to fade. So it's like I would see. There actually is. If you ever go dig up my old podcasts that I used to do with hubby, we were talking about Sailor Moon before I started the live blog, but not much before. It's like maybe a month or two before I started to do this. And I'm talking about how, like, I know I love Ray, but I don't remember why. Not as a larger sense of things. It's like the emotion existed without the context. And that was true for all of them, because I loved them all, and I knew I loved the show, but a lot of the detail for the why had faded. Uh, but it was because of Crystal that I came back and I'm here right now, because I had been, when I heard the reboot was coming, which is what we were calling it at the time, I'm like, I really want to watch the new version, but I would like to have the old version. I'd like to re-experience and kind of fall in love with it all over again. But I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. I had a bunch of other things going on at the time, and the opportunity just never really. I say opportunity didn't present itself. I didn't create the opportunity. But then a friend of mine, who is one of the people I'm talking about from the first time around, he was saying the same thing. He's like, I'm totally going to rewatch the original in preparation for the new series. And he asked me to try and get them for him. So I contacted somebody else, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I wound up with the lot of episodes, and I gave them to this friend. But then that meant I had all the episodes, and it was right there in front of me. And I'm like, well, this is kind of the opportunity I was looking for. I guess I'll go ahead and start watching it. And so I did. And because I am me, I don't know how to shut the fuck up. When I'm watching something, I need to tell the entire universe, this is what I think about what I'm experiencing right now. Everybody look at me, I'm very important. I don't like Crystal, and I'll just leave it there for you. Again, if you want to read more, go to my blog. It's a long and varied story. Um, so I started to watch, and I was tweeting at the time. I was very active on Twitter at that point, and I started to tweet my thoughts and like comments and little smart ass remarks. You guys know what I do. I was doing that, but on Twitter. But as you can imagine, knowing what I do, 140 characters is really not sufficient for a lot of the thoughts that I have. And it was at that point that I decided, okay, I need a new platform. Twitter is not cutting it for me, and I went over to Tumblr. Um, Not really getting it. I'd kind of tried Tumblr a couple times before, and the reason for it didn't click for me. Um, I like to know why I'm using this service over that service, and it never worked for me before. But then I started to live blog over there, and it was like, oh, now I get Tumblr. Now I get why I want to use this service, and there we go. That's how that works. So essentially, what got me to live blog? The fact that I can't shut up. That's your short answer. Continuing with the questions from the same person. What other anime do I like? I really never liked that much more anime, to be honest with you. I used to watch a lot in the '90s, in the late '90s, where it kind of ironically because it was so much harder to find back then. But I never really clicked with anything like I did Sailor Moon. I liked Bubblegum Crisis a lot. I watched a lot of Rama One Half, Tenchi Muyo. Um, what the fuck else? It's been so long. That's part of the problem. Dirty Pair, I liked. Um, had a lot of I had a lot of stuff. I tried a lot of stuff, uh, but nothing ever caught me like Sailor Moon did. And then after Sailor Moon ended, I think I've said this before on my blog, I was trying desperately to find the next Sailor Moon, and I know that's what I was doing. I wanted something to fill the hole that now existed where Sailor Moon was, because again, when I was watching it, it hadn't ended, so I got to continue to keep trying, to keep experiencing this show with every new episode. There was always something new to experience, and when it ended, I was nowhere near prepared for it to end. I was not ready for it to be done with these characters, to be done with this universe. I was not ready, but of course it was done. There was nothing to be done about it. So I kept trying to find something else to fill that hole and failed. I tried Magic Knight's Rebirth, I tried Fushigi Yugi, I tried, hubby I've mentioned was really big into Evangelion. I hated Evangelion. I think I was getting Blue Seed at the time he was getting Evangelion, but it was just like nothing worked. Nothing was what I wanted. And that lack of connection with any other anime, along with the fact that at that point we started to get so much more of it started to come out, but it was still so expensive, and I was getting real tired of kind of taking pot shots in the dark, hoping to hit a target that was never going to come. It was just I just was spending so much money on it that I just gave up, and that was it. And I did not touch a single anime ever until I came back to start watching this again. So, truthfully, I don't know that I'll ever find anything. I don't know that I'll ever be quote unquote an anime fan. I might like certain shows, but the fact that something is anime is not enough for me to want to watch it. I won't watch just anything. It's going to have to be something special, some particular plot thing that's going to motivate me to want to spend time on it. So. Also, continuing with the same question from this person, why did you choose the name Mina for your dog instead of Ray? Because she's a Mina, honestly. She's not a Ray. I don't believe if you're gonna use a name that comes with implied meaning for you, it should have that meaning. And Mina Pup is she's blonde, she's bright, she's full of confidence, she's full of joy and spunk with a little bit of mischievousness thrown in. She's Mina through and through. There's nothing about her really that connects me to Ray as a character at all. So much as I love Ray, the fact that Ray is my favorite character is not enough for me to name a dog after her. I could name an iPad after Ray, perhaps, because it has no personality beyond the personality that I want to give it. But a dog has a personality, and I feel the name should fit. And there was nothing Mina, or excuse me, there was nothing Ray about Mina. She was just Mina. So, okay, that is all of that person's questions. I'll jump back to chat now. Did you guys have anything that had come up or that you wanted to toss at me now? I will wait for the lag to catch up. We've got about half an hour left. What did I think of Ranma? I liked it enough at the time to keep watching, so I must have thought well of it. If you want to know more specifics, I can't give them to you. You guys have seen how little I remember about Sailor Moon, and I loved that. So it just very much didn't stick with me. Like I said, it was a long time ago. It was 20 years. I'm old. But yeah, I watched a lot of it. I have a lot of tapes, VHS tapes of Ranma out in the garage, so I clearly liked it. So best I can tell you. Oh, I do have a cell of one Ranma character. I think her name is Yukio, something like that. Oh, hubby's yelling from the other room. Yes, I'm correct. So I do have a cell of her. So she must have been a character I liked. But that's about all I can tell you. Sorry. See, Jude says, I'm curious about your dislike of Urusei Yatsura. Again, I'm afraid we're pulling into I would love to show you that cell if I can find it. If I can find it, I will be more than happy to show it to you. I'll take a look for you after the gifting. Again, maybe you want to shoot me an ask so I don't forget because my memory is shit. If you haven't picked that up by now. Let's see. So, question. I'm sorry. Was my dislike of Urushigetzura. Um, I I'm going to answer your question with the caveat that I am remembering my more like emotions that I had while watching it. Um, that may not be entirely accurate. I can just give you the impressions that I have. So, Ataru was his main character's name, I think, maybe. The impressions and the emotions that I am left with in my vague memories of Urusei Yatsura were that the main character, Ataru, was extraordinarily horny and sexist and just going after Lum, I think it was, like the entire time, and that was essentially the plot of the show. I didn't find it charming, I didn't find it funny, I didn't find it compelling. It just seemed to be like, horny high school drama, like American Pie, the anime, and I just not into that. That's not a story that I'm interested in. So, if you guys want to say it had a lot more to it than that, I will believe you. I don't remember enough to be able to refute you, and I have no interest in going to find out. So there you go. That's what I've got. I'm scrolling back up through chat to see what else I might have missed. Everybody agreeing with me on Mina's name, which makes me happy. Alright, I'm going too high and I'm going to miss the new stuff. So, okay, while you guys let me know if you have something new, I will continue to scroll here in my inbox to see what we have. Let's see. Jude DeLuca says, this is a question for the live chat. I'm just a little curious if you ever had the time or resources for it. Have you ever thought of going to comic conventions to collect sketches or artwork of the Sailor Moon characters from different artists? Um, yeah, I mean, I would. That if I had unlimited funds, that would be fine. I can't say that it's something that it wouldn't be a priority for me. Let's put it that way. I don't have anywhere near the disposable income to make that a reality, and so it hasn't been something that's kind of been a thing I would do personally. But sure, yeah, like if I had that as an option, I don't see why not. Yeah, sure. Let's see. Moving back here. Alright, we got another one from Duck here from before. She's out with her mother tonight. She could not attend. They're probably getting drunk somewhere. I am not. I am just here. But you guys are awesome, so that's all good. This is the first time I'm seeing your message at all there, Emra. Okay, so this one we have from Duck here is each of the Senshi, and I mean all of them, JW, what is their favorite 80s song? Jesus wept. I'm so bad at favorite song and song connections for people. This is the worst. Alright. There's so many songs. Um. Alright, I'll start with maybe type of song, and maybe we can narrow it down from there. Um. Oh, shit, I hate these questions. Fucking holiday. Okay, let's say. Let's say that. Well, we know that Ami obviously has a Kenny Loggins fetish. So I guess we can start there. Um. So I guess that's where we'll go for here. We know she likes Danger Zone, so we could go with that, or we could I don't know. I think Ami liking Footloose, like Footloose being her favorite song, would be kind of cute because it just makes me think of Ami just being gripped in the moment and just dancing with wild abandon around her apartment to Footloose. So I'm thinking that should work out pretty well. So we'll go with that. We'll go with Footloose for Ami. Let's see. Hotaru is the next one that's coming to mind, and I think she would have some kind of like, um, I don't know, kind of like college indie sort of thing going on. Um, so I'm not sure. Maybe like Boomtown Rats. I don't like Mondays. I think that was 80s. I think so. Until proven otherwise, and I'm not going to go look it up. But we'll say that for Hotaru. just, just I don't like Mondays. Let's see. Hmm. Who's coming up to my mind next? Well, Haruka. I feel Haruka would be like something. Haruka would say her favorite '80s song would be like something really upbeat and edgy, or she'd pick some sort of like something you could dance to kind of thing. Like I don't know. Shit, help me out here, Mike. You know a lot of '80s music. Like yeah, something that like you could something really popular. Like yeah, sure, why not? Van Halen was cool. So yeah, we'll say like Haruka's favorite she'd say would be Jump by Van Halen. But what she really is into is like some sort of ridiculous kind of overwrought thing that she could sing at karaoke and embarrass the shit out of everyone. Some mucky ballad kind of thing. Yeah, it's something. Yeah, something from Black Pat music. Like Haruka's don't you forget about me or something. For which she must dress up like Bender and she puts her hand in the fist in the air and shit. So, um, let's see, who else do we have? I always said that Mako. My feeling with Mako is that she's usually behind the times with music. That she actually winds up liking what um, her parents listened to, and that's really more where she kind of lies. So I would see maybe something that was real early '80s. That still has that kind of '70s vibe to it, perhaps. Why did I just go to Adam Ant? I just went to Adam Ant for no particular reason. So I don't know. Maybe Goody Two Shoes can be Mako's favorite song. Let's say, why not? Let's see. We'll pick on Minako's gonna just love whatever's popular. You couldn't get what Minako's favorite '80s song would be because it would literally be whatever was playing, whatever was the number one video for the week on MTV, dial MTV. So actually, her favorite song probably would be "Pour Some Sugar on Me." Let's go with that. A classic Def Leppard. It was like it was the top of dial MTV for like a million years, and also it's really deeply deeply sexual. So let's go with that. "Pour Some Sugar on Me" for Minako. And like Minako would not be into hair metal bands. Oh no, So let's see. Thinking. Who haven't I done? Let's do. Michiru's gonna be tough. Michiru's would be like I don't know some international thing. Of course, every song I'm picking, I have to point out, of course, is American because I have no idea what was popular in Japan. So Michiru's favorite song would actually probably be something from another country. She would pick, some French or German pop song from the time that I've never heard of before. Um, so we'll go with that for Michiru. Let's see. Who am I missing? Usagi. Um, I think Usagi would kind of go for something that's kind of silly, maybe. There was a lot of silly shit in the '80s. Huh? The Go-Go's would be mine. No, it doesn't mean it can't be Usagi's. That's true. I don't know. She'll go for what the fucking I can't. God, oh, she like what's the shit? This like everyone remembers that one, apart from me apparently. Shit. No. Like what was one? Something like the quintessential '80s songs. Uh, Like people, I don't want to look at the chat because I'm sure they're talking here and I don't want to steal from them. No, 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 no. Like, what's the Flock of Seagulls? What the fuck's their song? I ran. Like, Jesus, that was so. Or yeah, or Aha, yeah, Take on Me or something. Um, let's. Why the hell would I remember Flock of Seagulls but not the song? That's terrible. Um, but yeah, so I think that something just really popular in that sense, or just a bunch of shit that like they or oh no, here we go. Okay, Usagi gets into like this new song by this new group, and they're the best group ever, and she buys their album, but that's it. That's all they ever put out. So Usagi's just a parade of one-hit wonders. That's Usagi for us. Um, who haven't I done? Setsuna? I don't know. They didn't specify which 80s, so Setsuna picks something from like the 1880s and confuses everybody. So there we go. That's my answer. Did I get all of them? I think I got all of them. No, I didn't do Ami, did I? Hmm. Chat lag is waiting on confirmation, so. Oh, fucking Chibs again. Yeah, but did I get Ami, though? Yeah, for Pluto, I'm saying she's getting something from the 1880s, because no one specified a century. Exactly. I don't know Shinola about the 1980s. I got Ami, okay. Oh, did I miss Ray? Oh, good lord. Bad me. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Kenny Footloose. I went with Footloose for me. That's right. Okay. All right. So apparently I missed Ray, which is my goodness. I'm in trouble. What would Ray like? What would Ray like? I'm casting my mind back. Give me a moment. She wouldn't be into metal. I mean, she might say she's into like hair metal and some of the glam stuff, but she wouldn't be really. She probably would just like some ridiculous happy thing. I'm gonna actually go with Ray being a Go-Go's fan, in part because I'm a Go-Go's fan, but I think she would enjoy an all-female group emerging from this deeply male-centered glut and pit that we had at the time. So I'm gonna go with uh, with something by the Go Go's for Ray, and I will pick my favorite Go Go song because again it's me. So I will say "Head Over Heels" is Ray's personal happy song, but she probably would pick something a little a little more upscale. She'd be like, "Oh, you never heard of it," because Ray's gonna be an '80s hipster, I suppose. All right. Oh, and then Chips. Fucking Chips. Why can I never remember to include Chibiusa? What would Chips want? For Chibs, I don't know. I always find it amusing to go in the hyper-aggressive sort of sense. So we'll say that Chibs' favorite song is like literally like the entire British metal catalog. So Chibs is really into Judas Priest. Let's go with that. Chibs likes Judas Priest. We're done. All right. I am looking here. Did I miss anything that was in chat while I was talking? We have about 20 minutes left. Oh, Holigay's here. Oh no. Let's see. I'm looking up in the chat to see what I missed. Oh, say they did a gem reboot. Should it adapt the current comic run or be something new? Or also thoughts on Riverdale. I have no thoughts on Riverdale because I've been doing the giftening, so I haven't watched it yet. But I've got it downloading, so we'll find out. Um, should they adapt the current comic run or something new? I think the current comic run, bearing mentioning that I am quite a bit behind on the current Gem comic, I would be fine with them putting a movie to that. I think that they took a lot of the things that were at the heart of the franchise and fixed a lot of the stuff that I didn't care for too terribly much, and they really modernized and updated it. So yeah, I would be all about them doing a movie reboot or TV show reboot based in the comic version of Gem. Would I rather punch Holiday or Holiday's toilet? Well, I've done the toilet, so I'm all over punching Holiday right about now. But that is also true, as she says. If I punched her, I would need to do it hard enough to drop her on the first hit, which I probably would not do, which then would mean that I would die. But it would be worth it. I think it would be really worth it. I can't even run. She would outrun me like in nothing. But oh my god, I would enjoy that first swing. I could hit her with the toilet. Would that count? I'm looking up in the chat to read what I lost. Let's see. I've scrolled quite a bit. All I'm seeing is Holiday coming in and ruining everything, and talk about the songs. So, all right, hang on. Have I read the Fruit Baskets manga? I have not. I have read practically no manga. Well, apparently, Holiday got a question asking if she would punch my toilet if given the opportunity, which she has had. She has had that opportunity. I don't feel any great need to read more manga. I am going to be honest with you. I don't feel that there's a gap in my life that manga needs to fill. Um, kind of like I was saying before. Like I don't feel that I'm necessarily an anime fan so much as I was a fan of some anime. If that makes sense. Like it needs to be more than hi, I'm an anime for me to want to care enough to spend the time watching it. There's a lot of shit that I could be reading or watching or playing, and there's only so many hours in a day. So I just really don't feel the draw for manga. So yeah, I like how you came in and fucked everything up too, Holiday. Let's see. How do you feel about magical girls in general? Wondering what you think of the Precure franchise. My magical girl experience is really quite minimal. Again, love Sailor Moon, so if it's Sailor Moon, that's happy. I liked what I was seeing of Princess Tutu, but I do not know, and no spoilers, please. But I don't know how representative that is of magical girls as a genre. Um, Madoka, my jury is still out on Madoka. Hopefully, I will finish it up here in the next couple days, whenever it's Madoka Day. So we'll find out. But again, I don't know how much that is about magical. I mean, it is about magical girls, but I think it's kind of fucking around with magical girls. So I don't know how much that would be representative either. Um, I watched Magic Knight's Rayearth. I don't remember much about it. I don't remember having a much of a opinion on it as part of the genre, or even as in and of itself. And then I watched what else? Fushigi was also Magical Girl. Um, I get the feeling that I wouldn't enjoy Fushigi very much if I rewatched it. I think that some of the plot instances and I remember it being really rapey, and I don't think that would go over too. I was kind of like, well, okay at the time, but I think again, you've got so much shit in the world. Why the hell suffer through things you don't really care about, or that kind of set you off wrong. Um, oh, and I did watch some of that Card Captor Sakura, and I'm going to be honest and upfront with you guys. I really didn't care for it. Um, I grant very well that I didn't get very far into it, but it utterly failed to sell me in those 2 episodes. So I don't know. I may not be a fan of. I like the idea of what I understand Magical Girl anime to be, and I love Sailor Moon, but I don't know that as a genre, it would be something that would by default catch my attention, I guess is the way to put it, diplomatically, while acknowledging that my experience is really very low. So, but I think it would depend upon the story. I mean, I would hope anyway that you couldn't just say, I like every magical girl show, because they would be similar enough to be able to be clumped into that kind of thing, So like, like sci-fi. Do I like sci-fi? Well, I would say yes, but I've seen plenty of sci-fi I don't like. So, tough to say. So, I cannot answer how drunk Doc is, but I am guessing very. Did I see that your mother is here also, Holiday? Oh, I got a dog on me, unexpectedly. Oh, that hurt. How is Spirited Away? Weird. Very, very weird. Very weird. Hello, Holiday's mom. Yeah, yeah. So Spirited Away was really bizarre. I won't say that I didn't like it. I did. It was interesting, but I didn't really. I spent the entire time kind of like waiting, coming up with all these like, oh, what does that mean? What question is this? Why is this happening? What's going on? And it seemed pretty clear to me that the movie really wasn't about answering any of those questions. It was, I'm guessing, more about the experience than about a story. I guess it was like, here are a set of experiences that are happening to this girl, and you're just meant to go through them with her. And she doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and so you're not going to know what the fuck's going on, and you have to be okay with that. Which is fair, but, I wasn't really what I was looking for. And I tend to like to have answers for why shit is going on. So, in and of itself, if I take it no further than what it was, I liked it okay. But that isn't necessarily where I go. I prefer to have a story come at me, even if it's a little obscure. But it just seemed like in that movie that there was no story that it felt like sharing at all. So, but it was pretty and it was interesting and it was a fun live blog, so I'm glad I saw it. Let's put it that way. I'm looking for what I missed. Let's see. Did you already answer all of the meta asks in your inbox in the chat? In a minute, did I answer all of them? Hell no. As in, like, everything I have? I have hundreds of asks, so no. But I have answered, I think, with the exception of a couple that Holiday had sent, I think I answered everything else that was sent to me today, mentioning that it was for the live blog, yes. If you had a question specifically, feel free. But no, I have like, yeah, that the ask. This wasn't for the ask box to get answered. This was, send in shit today and I'll answer it. My favorite Golden Girl was Dorothy. That probably surprises no one. Let's see, what else do we have? My favorite thing about the '80s, that I survived it. Let's see. Looking in the chat. Did I get the Black Moon one? I'm gonna tell you, friend. Literally, I have hundreds of asks in my inbox. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even have a handy way to look right now because Tumblr's organizational system is absolute shit. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I hope so. You can feel free to send it again. Um, let's see. Did I ever see the Golden Palace? I believe that was. Yes, I did. I don't remember caring for it very much, but yes, I did. I mean, Dorothy wasn't in it, so. Yeah, I'm not. I'm ignoring you, Holiday. Just so you know. Let's see. We'll see. Since she's here, I will grab another one of Holidays here, where she says the Senshi ranked from most to least dramatic. Oh, let's see. Well, least dramatic. I think they all have that dramatic streak in them, but I would say least dramatic would probably be Ami. I don't think she goes for the dramatics as a general rule. Um, I'm thinking. I'm thinking. After Ami, hmm. I'm actually going to say Hotaru, although I think that there is a sense of dramatics that is inherent to Hotaru, but I don't think she, in and of herself, necessarily would be dramatic. It's just this shit just kind of happens to her sometimes. So I'm going to put Hotaru next. That she kind of would rather just like be normal if that was okay, and yet she tries, and now suddenly she's got another specter of herself coming to chat to her, and it's just like Jesus wept again. So I'm gonna go Hotaru next. After Hotaru, let's think. Let's think. I'm going to say Pluto, not because Pluto can't be dramatic, but because the others can be so much more dramatic. I mean, let us never forget that canonically Pluto arrived with the popsicle just rising up for no reason whatsoever while imparting words of somewhat dire circumstance to everybody. So Pluto is going to happen next. So after Pluto, let's think. I'm going to go Mako, who is also not generally particularly dramatic. She can be. Like, again, let us never forget that someone stepped on Mako's lunch bag once, and then she was still shooting them death glares literally episodes later when they had done nothing else wrong. So, so Mako's got it in her. I also enjoy very much my personal headcanon, if you guys remember, where Mako was all pissy at the bakery because she couldn't quite replicate their one thing. So I think Mako has it in there. I had to do it the other way around. Yes. So Mako comes after Pluto. After that, I'm gonna go Chibs, who certainly can be dramatic, but I think as she grows older, she's gonna grow out of that a little bit. I think a lot of her dramatics right now are very much a case of I'm a time traveling child who's had a difficult childhood. um, so yeah, so I think that Chibs is gonna come next for me on that one. Let's see. That leaves us with Haruka, Michiru, Rei, and Minako and Usagi. I'm gonna go Michiru next. Again, not that she can't be dramatic, just you have to put it in relative context here with the other Senshi. And I think Michiru's dramatics tend to be much more low key, much more I will stab you in your back and you will thank me. So it's not uh, quite so aggressively dramatic. It's much more on the low key specter. There's not a whole lot of low key that's going on for anybody else we have left. Let's be clear on that. So between Haruka, Usagi, Minako, and Rei, we are running a bit of a tight race here. I feel. God, who would it even be? Who would it even be? Huh. I am actually going to go with Usagi. I'm torn between Usagi and Rei, but I think I'm going to go with Usagi because I think Usagi runs so hot all the time that it's difficult to sort of get that extra level to say, yes, you're being dramatic. Like, Usagi reacts at that peak performance at all times. So, to kind of get her to a point where it's like, oh, you're being dramatic, just really doesn't quite exist. You have to readjust the scale a little bit. And she's fairly, in that sense as well, she's fairly even keel for everything else that's going on around her. So, it's a kind of bankable thing as to how it. Thanks, Mina. Ugh. For how Usagi's going to wind up reacting. So I think I'm going to put Usagi next there. After Usagi, I'm going to have to go with Rei. I think Usagi and Rei are running kind of close together there, but I mean, Rei, for fuck's sake, it's like you upset her, and not only would Rei be dramatic, she would be dramatic about how dramatic she's not being, which is beautiful. There's a special level, I think, resolved for that. Um, I mean, I'm just thinking of that, and it's so beautiful. I want to go right that exact moment, right this moment. So, yes, and then we come down to Minako and Haruka. And again, this is really tough. I'm going to put Minako next. I'm putting Minako next for a way that I will explain in a moment. Minako's drama is real, but also manufactured. I think Minako knows when she's being dramatic, and it takes a certain level of authenticity out of it. And I think it's important that we break it down, the difference between dramatics for the sake of dramatics and dramatics because I am literally just a dramatic fucker. So there's a performative level for Minako, I guess is what I'm saying, and that takes something away from it. So that leaves us with Haruka as the most dramatic Senshi. And I think anybody who is truly looking in their heart of hearts is not surprised by this answer. The outers appear with rose petals and speeches, and her hands are tainted. And I'm willing to save the world, and it doesn't matter the costs. Oh my god, I'm so upset right now! And begging on car windshields, and putting her head in her hands, and doing all of this in the most sincere way possible. She means every single motion she is having, every feeling she is experiencing and expressing is all genuine. And of course, we cannot forget what is truly the most dramatic thing that Haruka has ever done in its beauty, which is standing across the street in the pouring rain with busy traffic and whispering. And it's glorious. You cannot beat it. You cannot beat it. And Haruka wins for most dramatic Senshi. Congratulations, Haruka. You will have a trophy in the mail. And on that note, it is now just past 8 o'clock. I have not eaten, so I will go get myself some dinner. And then we will decide what what Deke and or Cloverway episodes we're doing. I see a jet. Yes! One last question. Yes, go ahead. Princess of Apples. The question is, would you like a hug? There's no one here to give me a hug. I only have a puppy. I'll take a puppy hug. Oh, she's licking my hand. She heard, and she's giving a tongue hug, which is kind of a weird thing to think about. But yes, I shall go food, and we will meet upon the. I'm sorry, my brain is so fried. I'm so tired. We will meet on the blog for some Deke and Cloverway dubbing. Oh, hubby's giving me a hug right now. He heard no one was here, and here he is. Aw, best hubby. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go eat. We're both gonna go eat, and then we're gonna do the other thing, and it's gonna be awesome. So thank you guys for joining. I hope you had a nice evening. I hope everybody who is drunk will continue in their drunkenness and be pleased. And I will see you guys shortly for Deke horribleness. Good night.